episode of Music, Minimalism and Mental Health. I'm Martin Cliffe. Thank you for stopping by. And in this video is going live on January 16th, 2023, which means that yesterday, if you're watching it on the day it publishes, was my 45th birthday. Filming this just a couple of days in advance of that, just because my weekend is relatively busy. But yeah, just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a review of last year on my birthday. I released a video basically setting my stall out for the year and saying these are my goals, this is what I'm hoping to achieve this year. So I thought I'd review that, and then also I'll link to that video in the description below, but also then set out my goals for this coming year. Let's be honest, my 45th year, 2022, was not the least challenging year of my life, for a whole number of reasons, including obviously the significant conflict that started in February and impacted our lives and the lives of so many people, but particularly with Romania being such a close neighbour to Ukraine, we had a lot of refugees coming down through, and we were able to welcome some into our home, and all that was really cool. So it was great that we built some relationships with people. We were able to help out some people. So I wouldn't change the situation from our perspective, although obviously I wish it hadn't happened. But yeah, it was a very positive thing in terms of general life, but it did have impact on other things, and certainly things that I hoped to achieve last year. So my goals for 2022, I'm just looking at my little notebook. This was one of the handful of Christmas presents that I got. It was a moleskin notebook from Eva. As a minimalist, I didn't want very much in the way of Christmas gifts, but this was cool. I was using quite a bulky notebook before. This is much more compact, so I like it, and moleskin make good quality stuff. My goals generally were to produce more music, buy some electric drums. Those kind of happened. More music was produced in kind of varying forms, and I got the electric drum kit. I think in August. In the end, it arrived. It was something crazy like a 14-week lead time from when I ordered it, and I couldn't order it until I sold my Micro M5V because I needed the money for that. So there we go. But yeah, that was a great purchase. I talked about it in my last video. But then we were I was talking more specifically about producing content. I said I was going to make a video about consumerism in February, and then that didn't happen, as far as I can tell from looking back through my videos, I guess partly because of the Ukraine war. So my videos took a different tack for a while. So I will try and put that together over the coming weeks and maybe get it out for this February, who knows. I said I was going to continue to produce 2 videos a week, and other than taking October off off all social media, I have done that for the entire year, so that I can tick. I said I would produce 1 worship song video per month, and to date I've produced 11. I didn't manage to get one out in February, but I have since March. There's been one going out every 4 weeks. So again, I can pretty much tick that off. I would like to get another one out in January. I'm not going to necessarily try and do that with the same regularity over the coming year, but there will be more videos produced as time allows, and as I feel kind of led to do that, really, but not on the same kind of schedule. A couple of things I didn't achieve were to release an instrumental EP. I got partway along that, but I was, say, offset at various stages along the way, and I'd aimed to get 2 or maybe 3. That was always going to be a long shot singles out under Misaligned. Now I don't think I'm going to use the Misaligned brand. I think I'm just going to be releasing stuff as Martin Cliffe going forward, but I am hoping to get some vocal stuff and some instrumental stuff out. That is still the plan. I have a single that's it's a kind of revisited version of a Voyager Project song. It's the same lyrics, but very little except for the very familiar introduction is the same in the way that I've put the song together. That's just waiting for guitars to be recorded and then a proper vocal track once I have a voice, which is a limitation still at the moment, nearly 6 weeks into this bug that's been irritating me, shall we say. Other plans for last year were to kind of work out how Voyager Project goes forward. Now we kind of did a little bit of kind of working forwards in terms of we wrote a bit of stuff, and then we made the decision that actually Voyager Project wasn't going to go forward, and we decided to pull the plug on it and call it a day. And that actually was, as I think I spoke about at the time, quite a load that was kind of lifted off me. It had been kind of something that I'd been kind of carrying with, but also for the other guys a little bit. So when Ed decided he didn't want to do it anymore, that then felt like the right time to call that a day, and I'm very much at peace with that decision. I planned to sell pedals, and I did. I don't have an exact number. I think I took about 30, and I think there were about 9 left unsold at the time that we left in the summer, so I will try and list those this Easter when we're back in the UK. So probably 20-ish pedals that I sold last year. And sell some guitars. Well, I sold 3 Suhrs, an Ibanez, and my Mike Law 5V. I didn't manage to sell my P basses, so they were my P bass and my jazz bass. So they will go forward into this year, along with a couple of other things that I'm looking to move on further. But overall, not bad given the nature of the circumstances. Given that I had to spend pretty much all of May back in the UK, we spent pretty much all of July in the UK. I was sick for all of December. There were challenges along the way. There was other things that happened kind of in August and September that meant that I was busier than I was expecting to be. But yeah, generally pretty happy. Yeah, we make plans and then God says, no, I've got something else planned for you. And that's all cool. You just need to kind of go with the flow, I guess, really. If you get too caught up in your own ideas and you fail at them, then sometimes that can be a real downer for you. So, just kind of take each of these things with a little bit of a kind of grand overview rather than getting too focused in the details. There is nothing wrong with setting small goals that are realistic and specifically attainable. But I think, if you're setting kind of more broad things, give yourself a bit of grace. So what about this year? Well, this year, obviously, one of the goals that I already talked about is the no spend year. Now, I have received something this year. As a birthday / Christmas present, I got a Phil Jones Nano Bass X4 bass amp, which is about the lightest weight bass amp on the market. The only bass amp that I currently have is my Mark bass, Little Mark Vintage, with a couple of cabs. Not ideal for taking to lessons on the bus or walking. And as we don't have a car, there are my options for going to lessons. So I bought this amp, Eva bought this amp for me, and it was ordered in 2022, so it just by about 4 hours doesn't count into 2023, but also it was from Eva specifically for my belated Christmas / early birthday present. It's arrived a few days early, which is good because it means I can use it for my lesson this week. But other than that, no plans to purchase anything. I mean, I have purchased so far in 2023 a tyre pressure gauge because we were having some issues with bike tyres and we needed to be able to check the pressure of them. I'm okay with that. It's something that actually we were aiming to purchase at the end of last year, then we both ended up with flat tyres on our bikes, and so cycling just kind of got put on hold for a couple of months, but that's it. I think I may need to purchase a cloverleaf power cable because I can't seem to find one with a Euro plug going to a cloverleaf. I thought I had some, but I've searched everywhere I can think they would be. So that may be something that I need going forward, but that's not urgent. Other goals that are kind of a bit more general, I guess. I want to spend more time outside, preferably out in nature, but generally just in fresh air. It definitely helps that now I'm going out and teaching 3 days a week, and I'm doing quite a lot of walking to get to them. I'm certainly getting fresh air or air and exercise and spending more time outside, which is definitely something that's going to benefit my mental health going forward. But I want to certainly do that more. I'm a bit of a homebody. I kind of like to spend time inside, and I always kind of have a resistance to going outside and going for a walk or whatever like that, until I go outside and go for a walk, and then I realise that actually I enjoy being outside. I just don't think that I do. I think many of us maybe have the same thing, but yeah, I want to get outside more. I want to spend more time in nature. I want to spend more time with the Word, with reading the Bible. That's something that, if I'm honest, has not been enough of a priority for me over the last few years. I've read the Bible through a few times, and certainly spent a lot of time in my youth studying it and what have you. But over recent years, that's something that's fallen by the wayside a bit. So I got a chronological Bible, which is interesting because it has the verses roughly in the order that they happened, rather than the order that they appear in terms of the traditional structure of the Bible. So I started that. I started a couple of days late, but it has basically daily readings. So I'm kind of working my way through that. I'm kind of in the middle of the Abraham story at the moment. Yeah, definitely something that I'm going to seek to pursue, just to help my relationship with God. And yeah, it's all good. Kind of leading on from that, one of my goals for this year is to serve the church more, and that has kind of come up as a result of one of the church leaders is taking some time away overseas, pursuing a different path for a time. So for this year and for next year, I have an opportunity to contribute more to the life of the church, and particularly to the worship of the church. So it's something that I feel is really important part of my life and my walk. So that's something that I'm going to do. I want to be more disciplined. Last year was a mess. Last year was a mess for so many reasons. You know, time here, there, and everywhere. Never felt properly kind of settled into a routine. But I think, yeah, this year going forward, there are things that I will, once I've got my routine established, I'll maybe produce a video explaining how I set out my week. But certainly, yeah, to have a bit more structure to my week. Yeah, I think it's good that this morning I'm sat here being productive and making a video by 10 o'clock in the morning, as opposed to sitting and watching YouTube for 3 or 4 hours before I get out of my chair and do anything, which is something that was never helpful for me, but I found myself doing all too often. I'm going to try and spend a day screen-free if I can, a week. My aim is to spend Fridays focusing on composition. And the two don't necessarily go together, so that might not be able to be my screen-free day, but we'll see how things go. Generally, yeah, just being more intentional about what I seek to do. I will, as I say, publish some music this year. I'm not going to put a number on it because I made that mistake last year, but publishing some music this year would be my goal. And I think making positivity or making joy a focus. I talked in my last video, or 2 videos ago, I think, about happiness and how happiness and joy have a kind of slightly awkward balance and relationship. And do we really mean joy when we talk about happiness? And do we really mean positivity? Exactly where do we stand? Because I think I have a kind of inherent deep down joy that, you know, I am in a place where God wants me to be. I am joyful of the kind of the situation that I am in, and my relationship with Eva, and the friendship circle and the church that I'm involved in and all that. But at the same time, the nature of particularly this time of year, and my mental condition, and other things, the fact that I can't work at the moment, and other things that are frustrating, mean that there isn't always a kind of day-to-day happiness. In fact, there is, I would say, an overall kind of residing sense of unhappiness in my life. The joy that kind of supports me is stronger than that, but sometimes that kind of comes to the forefront, and that can really contribute to low mood and all that. And I've taken steps to try and balance that as much as possible, and deal with those situations. But happiness can be a difficult thing, but to try and stay positive, to try and stay focused on what I can contribute to others, what I can put out, and hopefully benefit you guys out there on YouTube as well, because that's something that I really love making these videos, but I would also really love to hear if they are helping you. I've got some really good feedback from some videos, but a lot of videos, nobody comments, and it'd be really nice for people to comment more, so that I can know that I'm doing good in this world. Because at the end of the day, doing good, being a better person, contributing positively to other people's lives is what I'm about, and hopefully what all of us should be about. So there we go. That's kind of a little bit of a review of last year and a look forward to this year. There's so much more that could be said, potentially should be said, but I'm just kind of this is where I'm at. So there will be music this year. Hopefully once I can shake this chest, I'll get this single out there. I will hopefully get a second single out later the year. I haven't worked out exactly what that will be yet. I have a blues song that I've written that I think is going to be really powerful, but it's knowing exactly how to put that together. And instrumental music should come out. There should be a follow-up, really published on Instagram and Facebook. The cover that I shot for that will be called Enough, but I just don't know exactly when it will be out, because I just need to knuckle down and focus and get on with it, really. So there we go. Thank you for watching. Please do hold me accountable for these things if throughout the end of the year I'm not achieving them. And I'd love to know what kind of your goals are going forward. So share them below. If you've not already, click the thumbs up icon. That's really appreciated. It really helps the way the channel goes forward. Subscribe if you're not already. But most importantly, be good to yourself, be good to each other. And I'll see you on Thursday. Take care.